All right, Kamala's campaign is in damage control after some reports circulating that she would be open to an arms embargo with Israel, as we are expecting Iran to attack at any minute. Any one of her aides, by the way, and they're now saying she never agreed to discuss the embargo. And we have no idea because she doesn't do interviews, is never asked any questions. This all comes after she met with anti-Israel activists on Wednesday night. Why did she meet with them? Now, still her meeting with the leaders of the uncommitted movement from the primary season is opening speculation about her positions. And remember, she didn't show up for Netanyahu's address to Congress. She encouraged people to stop using the phrase radical Islamic terrorism. And neither she nor Joe or the USA supported Israel in rightly retaliating against Iran after they attacked Israel, and her track record with understanding the danger that is the #1 state sponsor of terror, Iran, is shockingly naive and beyond ignorant. Here's the reaction. The executive director of the Lawfare Project, Brooke Goldstein, and Fox News contributor Tammy Bruce. Good to see you both. Brooke, start with you. Wow. Why is she meeting with them?
Right. Why didn't she meet with Netanyahu, the leader of the greatest democracy in the Middle East, the greatest ally that America has? But she spends the time meeting with a 501c4 Islamist lobbying group whose sole purpose is to engage in political blackmail against the Democratic Party, basically saying to them, if you don't take a pro-Hamas, anti-Israel stance, we are going to take Democratic votes away from you. And it's because of these types of lobbying groups that we're seeing the radicalization of the Democratic Party like we've never seen before. We have somebody who they are running for vice president who's heaping praise on Ilhan Omar, the greatest anti-Semite in our government right now. We have someone, Kamala Harris, who's running for president, who can't even bring herself to criticize Hamas, a designated terrorist group, for the suffering of the Gazans. Her entire policy is based around trying to pressure Netanyahu to pull out of Gaza and leave Hamas in power and support this Muslim colonialist campaign to take over the east coast of the Mediterranean.
Let's get your take, Tammy. And remember, the whole issue of why wasn't Josh Shapiro chosen? Clearly, the vetting of Tim Walz was a disaster and is getting worse every day.
Yes, well, with Tim, as Brooke has noted, he's already displayed his sympathy for effectively the Hamas wing of the Democratic Party, if it's even just a wing at this point. I think Governor Shapiro, he already debased himself initially in distancing himself from his comments when he was 20 about serving with the IDF. And that was horrible enough. But I do think that they asked even more of him that he wouldn't do. And, of course, then he withdrew himself after whatever it was they were asking of him. It's overall a remarkably shocking situation. At the same time, we've seen what's going on college campuses, on the streets of this country, the nature of the hate crimes against Jews, and yet there's been nothing really from Kamala Harris, nothing on any issue, to say the least. But when we do see both her and Walz, we see something very clear, and that is a dynamic where it is not Israel. That is the most important thing in the Middle East. It seems to be Iran. It seems to be their death squads of Hezbollah and Hamas. And so because they won't say anything, we just need to watch what they've already done, what they've already said. This is obviously an existential issue. Clear minds, it's obvious. And remember, she's not even saying things herself. It's anonymous aides that seem to be contradicting these statements, like about an arms embargo against Israel. She won't say it herself, which in it itself is, I think, a confession.
And you can't say radical Islamic terrorism, Brooke.
Right, but apparently you can meet with people who support an arms embargo, which basically means that they don't want Israel to defend themselves. I want to mention, though, I think it's very important that the person who is running this uncommitted movement, 501c4 Islamist lobby group, is Rashida Tlaib's sister, Layla Elabed. So you have a sitting member of Congress's sister running a campaign to pressure the Democratic Party to be pro-Hamas. That's systemic.
And Walz,
great point, Brooke. Brooke.
walls praising Congresswoman Omar, praising her. Thank you both. More Hannity straight ahead.
With fast signs,